Hello, users, and welcome to another episodic installment of Above It All, the series in which I talk about how great I am and how bad Joe Biden is. So, here we have the S. Carolina elected official now backing Sanders over Biden. First of all, I just want to say, isn't it kind of weird to just S. Carolina in the headline? It's just a little strange. I mean, I don't understand that. But anyway, so we have Dolly Myers. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't know. Has told the Associated Press on Wednesday that she was making the change in part because she values what she sees as Sanders' strength in being able to go toe-to-toe with President Donald Trump in the general election. Quote, "I looked at that and I thought, he's right," said Myers, a black woman first elected to the Richland County Council in 2016. "He's unafraid and he's unapologetic. I like the fact that he is willing to fight for a better America, for the least, the fallen, and the left behind." Really good quote, by the way, just really good, and that's true. And then we have down here, over here, the only candidate with a broad, this is about Biden at the time when she endorsed Biden beforehand. "The only candidate with the broad and diverse coalition of support we need to win against Trump in the general election." So basically, and then she says, "It was a compromise choice. I didn't find anybody's candidacy electrifying, but I did find Joe Biden's candidacy to be reassuring in a sort of normal American kind of way." So I don't really know what that means. But this is good stuff. This is this is one of those things where now that this has happened, it's proven that it can happen. Really, this is one of those things where the first is always the most important. The first person to just go out there and say, "You know what, Biden, I'm sorry, but you're falling apart. You're not. Your campaign is not doing what it needs to do in order to win against Donald Trump. So I can't support you anymore." So now that she has done this, now that this has happened and one person has done this, it opens the avenue for other people to go about doing this. Now, do I think that we're going to see Neera Tanden start talking about, Bernie Sanders, not? I don't think that's going to happen. I can't wait until he wins the nomination and we see what these centrist losers are going to freak out and do. But I don't think that's going to happen before the primary is over. That being said, this is really good news because especially because of South Carolina, which is so Bernard's path to victory. He's going to win in Iowa, easy. He's going to win the New Hampshire poll that came out. I'll make a video about this, but New Hampshire had a new poll that has them 12 points up, but he's going to sweep New Hampshire. Nevada, he's positioned really well in. He's got a lot of endorsements from local groups, unions, teachers unions, all that kind of stuff. He's looking great in Nevada. There hasn't been too much polling in Nevada, so it's hard to get a super accurate reading, but it's looking like he's going to be doing really well in Nevada. South Carolina is I think it's the fourth state. I think Nevada's the third state. My brain is currently just not functioning, but I'm pretty sure South Carolina is the fourth state, and then Super Tuesday happens. But South Carolina is the first kind of area where Bernie just doesn't have the broad coalition of support that he has in, say, Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada. And this was what happened in the last primary cycle where, Bernie did really well in the Rust Belt and the Northeast and a lot of the Midwest, but didn't really do that great in the South. And now, because Sanders has been running, basically, he's been running for president since he announced in 2015. He has not stopped running for president since then. The only thing that's changed are the formalities. For example, the Amazon thing, the Disney thing, the War Powers Act, all of these big plays that he's done, introducing Medicare for All as a bill. Then now you have Pramila Jayapal endorsing him. All these things are just a lead up to South Carolina. And personally, I think we're going to have a good showcase in South Carolina. I think it's totally possible he wins in South Carolina. It's also totally possible he loses in South Carolina. I'm not totally set like dead set either way. I don't know. But either way, this is great news. I do think South Carolina is going to have one of the things with the primary is that they don't poll people that aren't likely voters. And the whole fundamental thesis of the Bernie Sanders campaign is that we are going to have people that have never voted before or haven't voted in decades re-energized and getting into the political process. You know, I've got my voter registration forms right here. I'm going to start registering people. I'm going to start canvassing in my neighborhood. I'm in North Carolina. We vote on Super Tuesday, so that's right after South Carolina. This stuff is really important. And there's so many people out there that you just ask them, it's like, oh, I don't vote. Or, you know, I used to vote, but, you know, like, and then, like, you know, like, those are people that exist. And, like, I should have opened this up, but there's a chart out there where there's, like, 25% Democratic voters, 25% Republican voters, and then, like, 50%, give or take, of people who just don't vote. And that's a giant chunk. That is a gigantic chunk. It is more than both the Republican and the Democratic like voter base combined of people that just don't give a fuck. And if you can actually like get into that kind of sphere, you can fucking sweep this shit. And last time around, in the 2016 election, there were so many like, you know, like a lot of states like New York had the 6-month deadline where if you discovered, say, I think New York voted in April, I think, last time, and if you discovered Sanders in, say, December, you could not register as a Democrat and vote for him. It was impossible. So states like that, for example, now people are ready. People are registered. They are ready to vote for Bernard. It's going to be amazing. Like I said, I'm going to do a prediction video probably a week before Iowa. I'm going to predict what I think the primary is going to be. You know, like it's hard to make predictions before Iowa, but I personally, as of right now, I see him winning Iowa. I see him demolishing in New Hampshire, and then I see him probably winning in Nevada. And again, it's totally up in the air still, but I can definitely see him winning in South Carolina, especially when you keep in mind that there's going to be momentum. If he does win Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada, the momentum is going to carry into South Carolina. And if my brain is working and South Carolina is in fact the fourth and not the third, which again, I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure it's the fourth. I'm like 98.6% sure it's the fourth state. And then of course, if he wins all 4 of those states going into Super Tuesday, he's going to win California. That's already basically predetermined. It's going to be amazing. And then also, like, if you win South Carolina, what's that precursor for the other southern states that vote on Super Tuesday and stuff? Like, it's going to be super interesting, and this is just a great story, great news all around. And of course, if you live in South Carolina, get out there, talk to your neighbors, like, say, like, yo, vote for Bernard, bud. You know, you just got to do it. You got to do it. You just got to do it.